Hello, and welcome to the Indie Plus exhibition game TLDW version. We're here with
Rich.
Jen.
Mark.
and I'm Brendan. We've just finished a game of Numenera with Shanna Germain, and now we're going to do a 5-minute condensed discussion. First, we'll talk about our favorite highlights of the game we just played. Then we'll talk about what you should know about the game, anything that you should definitively be aware of before diving in. And finally, why you should play, the one stunning reason that you should play this game. So without further ado, highlights. Rich, what's your highlight?
I would have to say that my highlight, first of all, is Shanna Germain had an excellent amount of artwork that she presented during the game that really helped bring across the weirdness of the setting. And I loved the combat that we had against the jelly bean giraffe, as I like to think of it. It was kind of awesome.
Filled with blood. Jelly bean giraffe filled with blood.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it
Pokey
like
thing.
jelly beans because I had to go toe-to-toe with it up close.
That's awesome. All right, thanks, Rich. Jen, what's your highlight?
My highlight was actually Mark's continuous mental intrusion into Dunnan because I just found that really, really entertaining. So thank you for that, Mark.
You're welcome.
Maybe at least one of us did. Thanks, Jen. Mark, what was your highlight?
I thought the weirdness of the setting was consistently reinforced. So we came upon this bladed grass, and we're like, it's scary. But then there's people who are walking through it with their little walkie things. And I thought there was just a lot of good jamming around imagery that was reinforced by the art, but it started with just constantly being confronted by the new and the strange and the weird.
Right.
I think it was really, really excellent.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, and my highlight, I mean, it's pretty much the same idea of just loving that weirdness, because it strokes a particular fire in my heart, because I love that really strange and weird and out there shit. But there were a couple of moments where Sean would just say something, and it would be this sort of throwaway line of, okay, so the thing misses you, so you don't get implanted. I'm like, wait, what? I could have just been implanted? Shit! And those were the moments I loved, when they were just matter-of-fact statements of, all right, so this thing could have happened, but it didn't. And we just moved on. It's like, wow, okay. And that, to me, that really got me. I had fun with that. All right, great. So what you should know. This is us talking about something people should know about the game before they pick it up. Something to think about or be aware of. So what you should know about this game, I think that you should be aware that there is a fair amount of fiddly bits, and I think that for all that it's actually much more condensed than a lot of more traditional games, I still found it I was looking at my character sheet, and the entire time I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I have these 5 skills, and I want to make sure I know what they do. I have these 2 ciphers, I need to know exactly what they do, so I know when I can use them.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 pieces of equipment, and I have one as a weapon, and I need to know what mod versus damage does. And I have all these abilities. I have Archer. Archer would let me do one thing, and then I have an ability Pierce, which lets me do another thing. I have an ability called Flex Skill. And, I mean, it didn't matter. We had fun, and I didn't necessarily know what all of these were. But in some ways, I felt like that meant we were playing sort of a reduced version of the game almost, which is fine for a 2-hour demo game. But I was highly aware of how many of these things there were to keep track of and think about and know that there are all these options. Mark, what's your thing?
I think my thing is that it still requires the GM to do a pretty good amount of work setting up conflicts. So the system doesn't really have any way to sort of generate conflict. It's very much a traditional system where the GM sets out conflicts and you engage them. And so I think you need to work out with your players what kind of conflicts they want to play, and you have to have a lot of explicit talk about that when you sit down to play the game.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Mark. Jen, what's yours?
Mine actually builds on Mark's. Mine was, this is, go fight the thing and kill the thing. I would have liked to see a conflict with, maybe a more explicit conflict with trying to make a deal for the stilt things, or trying to get Weird Face Guy to talk to us. Rather than just trying to talk in character and having no idea what to say. I would have liked to see maybe a conflict mechanic around that, aside from just combat mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Thank you, Jen. And Rich?
I think that one of the mentalities you need to have is, if you come into this kind of game, is setting exploration, exploring the weird, and if if you want to kind of come in and create a whole lot of the setting as a player, I'm not sure if that's fully supported. So if you've got a really creative, imaginative GM and you're interested in kind of working through what encounters have been set up for you, it can be really fun to play along.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you, Rich. And so now we're going to talk about why you should play. This is like the key thing you'd say to somebody to convince them to play, or like to be like, this is what this game does that's great. This is why you should get it or play. I'm going to bounce around. Jen, what is your why you should play?
Of course you are. Why you should play this game. Okay, so this game actually did something that I didn't think was possible, that was combine sort of magic and technology in a way I found entertaining. I have a very strong dislike of Shadowrun. I've played it. I don't like it. I don't find it compelling. I'm just like, meh. Sorry, Rich.
Look, he broke his little orc heart, just like.
But like, I really like this whole game. It has such like a sort of deeply sort of rich history, mythology, setting, you know, planetary, all that other stuff, and it's sort of magic and tech, and it was cool. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's why.
Let's go with Mark. What's yours?
I think this game does something that Apocalypse World does really well, which is it disconnects you from not just the modern, but like everything. So like, it was cool for me to just be like, I like have these religious observances. Why? Because I'm one of the billion like religions that exist on this crazy planet. And I think just making it the ninth world with like 9,000 years or what it's 100,000 years or whatever it is later after 9 societies just has a really nice thing where it's just sort of like you are an individual. You're unique because you live in this really unique time. And I think that setting element does a great job of setting up new conflicts without. You don't have to spend all the time being like, no, Rich, you can't observe the 24th remembrance because your character doesn't have this skill. You can just be like, of course. So you just say yes and yes and yes, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah. For mine, I'm actually going to sort of build off of that with the yes and yes and yes idea, and specifically tie it into the character sentence, which is something that, there's stuff like that in other games, but this specific form of it, of having a sentence which has these 3 things to it, and each of them has a clear, specific meaning in the mechanics, I actually really like that. So I really like that you can be like, I am a blank, blank, who blanks. And then the fact that a lot of those are crazy or weird, and then they carry with them their own sort of attachments, and they reshape the fiction. Like, one of them is, I control magnetism. And it's like, shit, yes, you do. And it's like, great, there are people who control magnetism. I remember when I first got the book, and I was just paging through those, and I was like, that one, and I want that one too. So that's one of the things that I most love about it, is just those individual little pieces that immediately suggest new fiction, and they're just yeses and really cool, crazy things.
Yeah.
And Rich.
First, the elevator pitch would be, hey, did you used to like Thundar? Here's your thing. Another thing is, you like magic and technology, like Shadowrun? Here's another thing, but doesn't have to be tied to Earth. That's also awesome like Shadowrun. You could even make orcs here, I think, which would make it even more awesome.
You could.
But the kind of killer app for it is the Cipher, because a lot of games that I've played, the D&D style of games, you get your one little item and you want to hold on to it, you're little precious, and it's like, I've had this ring plus something or other that I've never used, but Ciphers are really designed to keep you from holding on to it and never using it. It's very disposable. I think that's awesome. That's a definite killer app for this game.
Right. I didn't forget. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you very much for the discussion. Thank you for playing. That was awesome. Thank you, Shanna Germain, for running. And that's it. The game was Numenera. We played with Shanna Germain. And if you like this video, if you're interested in any more of our Indie Plus videos, like our exhibition game videos or our other TLDW videos or our panels, which we have one coming up in 40 minutes with the inestimable Rich Rogers about how to make awesome NPCs, correct?
Unforgettable ones.
Sorry, unforgettable NPCs. How could I forget that? If you'd like to see any of these videos, please subscribe by clicking the button, which is up there. I'm just going to hold this.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Good night.
Good night.